with the FCC by February 3rd, 2020. When filed, a copy of this application will be available for public inspection at www.fcc.gov. It contains information concerning this station's performance during the last 8 years. Individuals who wish to advise the FCC of facts relating to our renewal application and to whether this station has operated in the public interest should file comments and petitions with the FCC by May 1st, 2020. Further information concerning the FCC's broadcast license renewal process is available at 2730 Lamour Avenue, Metairie, Louisiana, or may be obtained from the FCC, Washington, D.C. 20554, www.fcc.gov. This is AM 730 KQPN, West Memphis, Marion, Arkansas, Memphis, Tennessee.
Get ready for the truth, the whole truth, and nothing Bible in the dictionary. We will tell you the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help you.
Zero for the comments, suggestions, agreements, or even disagreements we may have. We agree to disagree without being disagreeable. Okay, the Truth Radio Show, brought to you by the Truth Radio Network. Giving everything from sex, race, religion, politics, and even sometimes sports from a Bible perspective. Today, God's in authority. Always. Lady asks why you deal with politics so much. Because politics is the biggest threat to the church in the United States right now. And as a pastor, I have an obligation to warn the people of God when the enemies of God are trying to destroy the house of God. Check this one out. Mike Bloomberg. These are some politicians in Memphis that are supporting Mike Bloomberg. I wonder if you check their financials, you'll see a donation from Mike Bloomberg. The ones in Memphis that are supporting Mike, we got big old fires there that he's coming to Memphis, and the people that are endorsing him are State Representative London Lamar, State Representative Antonio Parkinson, County Commissioner Van Turner, Mayor Jim Strickland, County Commissioner Willie Brooks, County Commissioner Mikhail Lowry, City Councilman Jeff Warren, County Commissioner Reginald Middleton, State Representative Larry Miller, SCS Commissioner Michelle McKissick. Ain't that interesting?
Yes, it is.
Ain't that interesting? Also, the lady called in yesterday. She had a lot on her mind. That's all. I told her about the Equality Act.
Mm-hmm.
That's the homosexual law they're passing where if you've been knowing me as a man, but now I say that now I identify as a woman, that you call me he instead of she.
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm.
And the man.
Yes, sir, instead of man. Gentlemen instead of ladies.
Mm-hmm.
Then there will be legal ramifications for it. And while they're playing these games of hate Trump, behind the scenes they're still doing their ungodly, demonic law passing. Well, man, the Democrats can't name you nothing they're doing, but they're very committed black vote. But while we're going through this political season, guess what they did? The Democrats passed the Equality Act.
They did.
Thank God we got a Republican Senate that they can let that become law. But they passed it. Here it is. Y'all ain't looking, they passed it. Here it is.
The LGBTQ Americans took to the streets outside of New York's Stonewall Inn to fight against harassment and hate. We take pride in the progress we have forged together. Our founders in their great wisdom wrote in our beautiful preamble of the blessings of liberty, which were to be the birthright of all Americans, to bring our nation closer to the founding promise of liberty and justice for all, we today pass the Equality Act and finally fully end discrimination against LGBTQ Americans.
The Equality Act has the support of a majority of the American people in every state. Let that sink in. Every single state in the country, the American people think it's time to protect the LGBTQ community. There is nothing more central to the idea of America, nothing that has contributed more to the exceptionalism of our country and the prosperity of America than the guarantee of equal protection of the law for every single American. And they support this bill all across this country because it makes sense. It's common sense. It adds sexual orientation and gender identity as protected classes through existing civil rights law, ensuring that the LGBTQ community enjoys the same protections as everyone else, nothing more and nothing less.
There is a homosexual conservative who spoke about this law. Now he's homosexual. So he wants to see laws for homosexuals. And even he says this is so dangerous for this country. Let's take a listen to him. And the phone numbers are 901-452.
Hey, stop clicking around. I need to show you this right now. There's a lot going on this weekend. If you've been reading...
Well, even though it's unlikely the Equality Act will go anywhere in the Senate, is significant in that it shows the direction of the Democratic Party. And what caught our attention is an op-ed piece in USA Today by Brad Palumbo. He is a gay conservative who says the Equality Act would crush religious freedom. Palumbo is a USA Today contributor and an editor at Young Voices. He joins us with more now. Brad, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me on.
It seems that most gay rights advocates support the Equality Act, but you think it goes too far. Tell us about your concern.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think it is true that the mainstream kind of LGBT activist community, which skews progressive, is fully behind this bill. But a lot of more level-headed gay rights advocates like myself recognize that a bill that erases the rights of religious liberty of conservative and religious Americans is not what tolerance or not what equality actually looks like.
You are advocating something called the, quote, fairness for all approach, which aims to protect, as I understand it, civil rights for LGBTQ people, but also protect those with traditional beliefs on sexuality. Talk more about how this approach would work.
Absolutely. So this approach was put out by a Council for Religious Freedom, and the point of it is to fill in the gaps in an existing law, which would strengthen anti-discrimination protections for sexual orientation and for gender. And I mean, in my opinion, how I see it, there's no reason that a random secular grocery store should be able to fire someone for being gay, or a doctor shouldn't be able to refuse to vaccinate a person who happens to be transgender. But that's different than having an expansive, comprehensive law that would force doctors to perform medical surgeries, gender transition surgeries against their will, that would violate their conscious rights, or a law that defines public accommodations so loosely that it would force Catholic schools to hire people who are not living according to the Catholic faith, and so on. So I think that you can have a law, you can have an approach that bolsters anti-discrimination laws, but doesn't trample over the rights of religious Americans.
At this point in time, how much momentum would you say that this approach has? We're not hearing a lot about it.
Well, it has very little momentum, unfortunately, because I think you see, with probably, I'd say, about 80% of people in the LGBT community, they've still kind of fallen under this progressive sway, where they're not really pursuing tolerance, because tolerance is a two-way street. What they're pursuing is, it's our turn now, and they're looking to impose their views, to impose their outcome onto others. And I think ultimately that's going to be self-defeating. So this approach isn't getting a lot of attention, but if you ask me, it should be.
Well, it's interesting. It's interesting that there is this fairness for all approach and the concern about balancing rights, and then there's also feminists, as you saw or heard in the earlier piece, who are opposing the Equality Act. Right now, it doesn't appear that it is going to win in the Senate, but I'm just wondering what you're hearing. What kind of attention do you think it might get in the Senate at this point in time?
Well, I don't think it will come up for a vote in the Senate. Susan Collins, who are on board with it. But what I want to point out is that the Trump administration, even if it were to pass, would veto it. And I think it's important to look at what they said. You know, a senior Trump administration official was quoted by the Washington Blade, which broke this scoop, saying that President Trump would veto the bill. But when you look at his statement, right, because people are going to scream, oh, Trump is homophobic and all this, when you look at their statement, they say very clearly, they don't want anyone to be discriminated against, they want the law to protect everyone, but that has to include pathways for religious liberty. So that's why the Trump administration would oppose this bill, even if it were to get out of the Senate, and I think they'd be right to do so.
Very interesting politics here, Brad Colombo. Thanks for your time.
Thanks.
Even the homosexual admitted he's not doing it because he got anything against homosexuals. He's doing it because people in the church have a right as well to believe in their faith. The Supreme Court, the court has already ruled. Human rights cover everything that you have a right as far as being homosexual. These people are looking for special rights to make you embrace that sexuality, to make you say that if I choose to have sex in a certain way, I can make myself a minority, therefore make myself receive certain rights. The court has already ruled. Human rights already covered homosexual rights. Here it is.
A federal appeals court in Chicago on Tuesday ruled that the 1964 Civil Rights Act also protects LGBT employees from workplace discrimination. That's the first time a federal appellate court has come to that conclusion. The decision by the 7th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals comes after it threw out a July finding by 3 of its own judges that the law doesn't cover sexual orientation bias and ordered a rare rehearing by the full court, a rare session known as an en banc hearing. It also comes as President Donald Trump's administration has begun setting its own policies on LGBT rights. Late in January, the White House declared Trump would enforce an Obama administration order barring companies that do federal work from workplace discrimination on the basis of sexual identity. But in February, it revoked guidance on transgender students' use of public school bathrooms, deferring to states. The Hively case stems from a lawsuit by Indiana teacher Kimberly Hively, alleging that the Ivy Tech Community College in South Bend didn't hire her full-time because she is a lesbian. 8 out of the 11 judges who reheard the case were appointed by Republican presidents. The issue could still land before the Supreme Court at some point. A GOP majority House and Senate make it unlikely that Congress will amend the statute.
901-452-3094 or 901-324-7490. Notice the common trend. Whenever you get fired or you don't get hired, or one guy made him put him on a football team. One guy made him put him on a basketball team. I'm homosexual. You can't fire me. You gotta hire me. Send a call to. Y'all call, welcome to the show.
Mary had a little lamb, little lamb, little lamb. Mary had a little lamb. Her coat was white as snow. Then I saw a transgender at Regis Bank today.
Did you now?
Yeah.
And how did that work
Let me ask you a
out?
question, sir.
Okay.
What are you gonna do when bestiality is on the rise? You think homosexuality is on the rise, lesbianism and all that?
It's coming.
These people start trying to mess with animals, and listen, I'm gonna listen and hang up the phone and listen to your response.
Yeah, we respond. That was a good question. You can never the sexual deviant demon can never get enough. Homosexuality ain't gonna be just enough. Yes, bestiality is coming. Bestiality is already here. This ain't made it legal yet for you to marry your dog. But don't you think it's coming?
You know, NAMBLA, they doing what they do.
Exactly. They want to eliminate age of consent laws. So it's okay if 50-year-old men sleep with 5-year-old boys as long as they get them to say yes. So now how can you tell me I can't sleep with my cow, my dog, or my sheep? Because I ain't satisfied with women anymore. I'm not satisfied with men anymore. I'm not even satisfied with myself.
Well, you got to understand. If we look, they set it up.
They set it up already for transfer, all this stuff they doing right now, setting up for now you come in. I'm not 60 years old. I'm a 5-year-old girl now.
Oh, you know they got the new one they got now too. You can change your birthday.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, you can change your birthday. Yeah, sure can. You can go legally in court, change your birthday. So if I change my birthday from 58 to 16, that allow me to go into your friendly neighborhood public school.
Mm-hmm. People not really taking heed to what we're saying, but when they knock on your front door, you say, man, that preacher said something. They told us about this. It's going to happen this way. But we need to wake up now. Wake up now.
Some will never be woke. Some will never be. Maybe it's because you don't understand what you're dealing with.
Maybe.
You know, the church is so, it's gotten contaminated. You got Pete Buttigieg going to African Methodist and Baptist churches, and nobody's questioning him wanting their vote so he can promote a homosexual agenda. You got preachers and politicians bagging these people, and nobody's bringing up the fact that their agenda is anti-God. Said Bill Atkins won't Mike Bloomberg in his church. I just read y'all about Touche Parkers and all of them be behind Mike Bloomberg now. No, Mr. Stop and Frisk. People don't care anything about you. And the sad part is, do you care about yourself? I look at that fiasco going on down there in South Carolina. Running up in all the black churches. Church that's called the black church. Nobody is asking a question about you want us to vote for, support you, you're passing law to go against our God. As long as they say I can beat Donald Trump. Here it comes.
You sure you want this call?
Not necessarily, but
he called himself hot cakes today.
I mean, I got that ring to God built like God built me for this. Hello, Carl. Do you want some syrup?
Yeah, I want some what?
Syrup.
Syrup? You won't need the syrup of hot cakes today. Hey, guess what?
What?
Use a big fine towel once you back that thing up. Use a big fine camel once you back that thing up. Use a big fine mule once you back that thing up. No, man, it's bestiality. You can't blame everything on the homosexual, man. People that said the bestiality, they just said the bestiality. You don't have to be gay to do that. The man that married his horse or whatever.
I didn't say you have to be homosexual to be bestiality. I will say this. Homosexuality is on the path of the road leading to bestiality. Once you get off into the sexual demon, is just that a demon, it's a demon spirit.
Right.
Once you get off into the role of sexual perversion, and you get off into what the Bible calls lasciviousness, then you pervert it in a certain way for so long, and you get bored, and you want to try something new.
If you hang around the barbershop long enough, you're going to get that way. But that's like marijuana leading to crack cocaine or heroin or whatever. But still...
Yeah, marijuana is not your gateway drug anyway. Alcohol is your gateway drug if they really want to tell the truth about it.
It just depends on...
Start off with some getting drunk, then it'll lead everything else.
It just depends on which one you get murdered. The murdering hand is the right hand, if that's the hand you shot somebody with, but you keep on shooting you. The murdering hand, you could have shot it with the left hand.
You're not necessarily a serial killer if you keep on shooting, Ricky. You're a serial killer if you keep on shooting different people. You can shoot the same person 12 times and you kept shooting, but it's just one kill.
Yeah, but you know, you can blame everybody, the alcoholic, the drug addict, the robber.
Have you did anything spiritual today?
Yeah, I'm talking to you, that's how I do.
Hold on. They're going.
Message from mailman. The main objective in SC is the black vote. Wiki.
Gotta say, wiki.
Ricky, how would you do something about me?
after my left toe in my
No, that's gonna be easy.
Okay.
Say Jesus.
Oh no! But do I see some fire, water coming?
Ricky, just say it one time. Say Jesus, Ricky.
Please don't make me say that. Hey,
Ricky Stevie, please just try it one time. Say Jesus, Ricky.
If I say that Jesus, white monster who got up off the cross on the third day, anything but Jesus. Oh, I said Jesus. But he's white, man. They used to paint pictures back then. I don't see how y'all. They got pictures of the Prophet Muhammad. I saw it. I said, maybe he was light skinned. Yes, any black person. What color is the Prophet Muhammad? They say he's black.
Light Brown got one for you.
Message from Mike Brown. You will one day.
You say you will one day, Ricky. Say Jesus.
I will what?
Say Jesus. Yeah. So you just said it. Didn't it?
Now I gotta say Jesus. I gotta spell it with the G. I might get burned all over. Alright, yeah, I'm gonna let you go either. They go fire hydrant, scare their person. I'm a chihuahua. I like fire
I would be out I'm going nowhere with Ricky down the 901-452-3094 or 901-324-7490. I knew what that medication candidate.
I know.
Yeah, get that smell out of here.
Sometimes you gotta play.
Yep, you do. You do. You know, maybe they don't know what the difference between the conservative and the liberal is. You think that's the problem?
Possibility.
Now, Isaiah chapter 32, it tells you that liberal ideology is evil. When people say they're conservative, they say that because that lines up with Christian values. I'm a Christian, first and foremost, not Democrat or Republican. I got a whole bunch of Republicans I don't even like. A lot of stuff the Republican Party do I don't like.
Mm-hmm.
Conservative ideology means that I believe in a moral ideology. I believe in an ideology that's lined up with the Word of God. Liberal ideology means that I don't have to be bound by the Word of God, and I can live life based on what I want to do, what I think, and what I feel, and I have no moral standards to live up to.
Oh, look, you got a third one.
What's third?
What Bernie Sanders wouldn't be socialist?
That's a form of government. Communism, socialism. We are Republicans. They think we're democracy, but we're actually a republic.
Yeah.
You know, so those are forms of government. Let me see if maybe this man can explain the difference between the two. They don't hear me sometimes, please.
Now, you were in your early years. You were a Marxist.
Yes.
What happened? How'd you get away from that?
I took a job in the government.
This is Dr. Thomas Sowers, by the way, y'all.
Marxist. After a year of studying
professor
the government, I was still a Marxist. But one summer of working in the government was enough to start turning around.
Really, what happened to you there?
Well, nothing happened to me, but that I realized that the government was nowhere close to being capable of doing what people on the left wanted the government to do. And that, in fact, we'd be lucky if they didn't make things worse. For example, I was in the Labor Department, and they administered the minimum wage law. To me, the question was, did minimum wage laws make poor people better off or worse off? Mm-hmm. That was not the question for them. The minimum wage law provided 1/3 of their total budget. And they weren't going to look at this other way. And as I tried to get into the question of does this cause unemployment and stuff like that, there was no enthusiasm whatsoever for that whole line of reasoning.
And you've written a trilogy of books about people you call the anointed,
yeah.
which are basically liberals in American society. What do you mean by calling them anointed or self-anointed?
That's right. There are people who seriously believe that they are wiser and nobler than others. The way to improve society is to have the government force people to follow what the anointed want, rather than have let people do what they themselves want to do. And there are all kinds of fiascos that follow in the wake of this kind of notion.
Conservatives are routinely blamed for not caring about people. And yet you say just the opposite is true, that it's liberals who care about their vision
yes.
of how the world should be, but not about real-life human beings.
Absolutely. I think the busing thing was a classic example. You would be hard-pressed to show how black people, white people, or any other people were benefited by this. But the liberals loved it. It enabled them to be morally superior to those who were fighting against busing. And the evidence, one way or the other, really did not interest them.
Aren't conservative free market ideas sometimes hard to sell? I think of the the labor unions and liberals are now attacking Walmart and saying Walmart pays its employees too little. I mean, that's a nice thing to be for. You know, you want more money for people who work at Walmart. What's wrong with that?
Hey, I want more money for myself. But that doesn't mean that someone else has an obligation to pay them. If you're paying people for their work, instead of just paying them for what they think they need, then clearly these people wouldn't be working for Walmart if someone else thought their work was worth more than Walmart is paying.
So why do you think liberals have jumped on Walmart? Because of its success?
Because of its success, that's a sufficient reason. They really are for helping. They're for helping people who are disadvantaged, as they put it. Whereas I think conservatives want to stop people from being disadvantaged. Now, the liberals want to help the poor while they're poor, but really the biggest benefit is to stop them from being poor. And that they have a real interest in.
What is the liberal premise?
I guess the Rousseau notion, that man is born free but is everywhere in chains, that the real problem with the world is that the institutions are wrong. The institutions are right. That man there is nothing in human nature that would cause us to be unhappy. It's the fact that we have the wrong institution.
What is the conservative premise?
That man is flawed from day one, and that there are no solutions. There are only trade-offs. And whatever you do to deal with one of man's flaws, it creates another problem. But that you try to get the best trade-off you can get, and that's all you can hope for. I've often said there are three questions that I think would destroy most of the arguments in this left. The first is, compared to what? The second is, at what cost? And the third is, what hard evidence do you have? Now, there are very few ideas on the left that can pass all three of those kinds of things.
Can conservative ideas pass those?
Yes, I think so, because they don't assume that there is a solution out there. Adam Smith didn't believe that either the government or the market could solve all problems. That you have to be able to simply tolerate certain things. And the idea to the left of tolerating any evil, that they want to stamp out the last vestige of segregation. Really? At what price? At what price?
That sums it up. That there's a spirit that Satan has put over people, especially people of my race. It seduced them. To where not only do they hate Donald Trump, they hate him about who votes for Donald Trump. They hate him about who supports Donald Trump. Even if you tell them you support Donald Trump because he supports your faith, they despise you. They tell you you're not black. Tell you you're a sellout. Say you one of those kind of niggas. If it's seduced by evil, don't know these people. But yet they have made it the foundation of their life. I'm going to vote for this, I'm going to get somebody to vote for it. The only reason why it even has my attention is because it's a threat to the church. That's the only dog I got in this fight. It's God. What about God, man? The millennials, they're just about lost. Bernie Sanders, you can take this guy lightly if you choose. This dude that built up a crowd just like Trump. Look at that concert atmosphere. You got as many, if not more, Democratic registered voters as you do Republicans in these United States of America. And God will let you have what the people choose. Just like he let them choose Barabbas, so shall he do with you. Don't you think for 1 minute? Can't be blaming on slavery. Can't be blaming on victimhood. Can't what you blaming on? Blaming on your blackness. Don't you think for 1 minute that's not a consequence for supporting the destruction of the church? And that's for the believer. Now, if you believe in Allah, or you believe in Buddha, or Hare Krishna, or any other gods and stuff, then go for what you go for. I'm speaking to the believers on that. Senator Q. Hello, caller. Welcome to the show.
Hey, Pastor Gas, like Brown.
Hey, like Brown, my friend. How you, sir?
I'm all right, I guess. These people can push all this mess all they want to, and you know, they show their ignorance when they talk about homosexual equality. God made man in his own image, and you're either a man or a woman. He made a man and he made a woman. He didn't make anything in between. And there's only an X and a Y chromosome, which only will allow you to be a man or a woman. So there is no in between. You can't pick and choose. You got the chromosome of a man, or you got the chromosome of a woman. I mean, you don't. There is no in between. I don't see how these people can argue it.
Well, I'm gonna come at you from their viewpoint. They say that sexual organ I was born with, be it penis or vagina, that's the sex that was assigned to me at birth. I hadn't had a decision to decide whether I was going to be male or female.
Well, you don't get to choose what color you're born. You don't get to choose who your parents are. You don't get to choose any of that. You're just born. God created you, and that's it. Deal with it.
You know, Bernie Sanders. Yeah, I want to do something. Don't forget that Bernie Sanders even his initials are BS.
Yeah.
I like that one. I like that one. Yeah, man. Yeah, but that's all. Just like if you point out that where Romans chapter 1, or you point out where the Bible said the feminine cannot in the kingdom of heaven, they'll tell you that what all those are Paul's writing. Jesus has said it. You know, they got an answer. In fact, Pete Buttigieg, he's actually going around saying that if you're a Christian and you don't embrace homosexuality, then you're a false Christian. And they got him in the church, seeking support. I know that they don't go to the churches that have to have mostly white members, though. This is they go to these churches that mostly have mostly black. And I don't understand why y'all violating God like that.
They're still playing the black race. They're playing it, and I'm going to tell you, these politicians don't care about the blacks. Y'all know this. They think blacks are less educated. Mm-hmm. They think they can pull anything over on these blacks. That's why they go in these black churches, man. These people, you know, the Bible says, let he who has eyes see. These people aren't opening their eyes.
So once they give you the black church, they go back to their lily white liberal neighborhood with their fenced-in houses and living in their private schools, and they tell you to enjoy what they left behind.
That's right. What kind of health care do the senators?
Bernie didn't have no problem going in there and getting no checkup when he had that heart attack. Bernie got right on in front of the line, didn't even have to wait.
Hey, they don't have what we got, but they want to push that stuff on us. But they ought to have what they force us to have. That'd be one way to solve that. Whatever y'all pass for us is what y'all are going to get.
Wouldn't it?
Yeah, and I mean that'd solve a lot of stuff. They wouldn't be pushing that stuff on us. And I don't know, man. I just don't understand these people. It's like they're driving with their eyes closed, man. If you just open your eyes plain as day, it's not about tolerance. It's about God's law.
And that's the last thing they are, is tolerant. They are forcing their sexual behavior on the believer and forcing them to not only stay silent, but you better act like you like it.
Well, why is it right for them to force their beliefs on us, but we can't force ours on them?
Exactly.
You know, there's two sides to the coin. Let's flip it again.
And then they come up with these laws like the New Way Forward, where you finna go and recruit back 25 years of people that have been convicted of felonies, deported from the United States, have the government to pay to bring them back in and make them part of the United States, all for the sake of solidifying the Democratic Party so that it can destroy America completely, as they have so decided they want to do.
Well, they got to do something. The black population hasn't been voting Democrat for 200 years yet, so y'all got some more years to go, I guess. I don't know, man. It's sad.
It's sad. And then these supposed churches, supposed to be houses of God, to let these people come in and spread this demonic ideology. Man, God grieving. I can see God crying. It's just a disgrace.
Well, it was Bernie Sanders. I don't know if you heard this or not. It was Bernie Sanders of Bloomberg said that they want to take away churches' tax and status.
Bernie?
Yeah, I couldn't.
Bernie.
They say that if churches are going to discriminate discriminate and not show tolerance.
Well, they actually, for the churches that signed on the 501c3, they can actually cripple them right now because they are actually in their contract with the government. Now, here's the kick about it. You can't take away tax exempt status from the church because it's in the Constitution of the United States. The Constitution states Congress can make no law that can interfere with or impede the workings of the church. The church was tax exempt by the Constitution. What the 501c3 did was said, look, we're going to call it faith-based money. And if your church signs on this, don't worry about tithes and offering. We'll give you some government money. And when you take the government money, you also got to follow these government rules. Just like if we say that LGBT is part of the Civil Rights Administration, then you've got to be making sure that you put that to work in your church because we're paying you. You didn't trust God on tithes and offering. Well, therefore, we got a new tax exempt status for you. And Lyndon B. Johnson said it when he signed it over the 501c3. This is a way to stop the church from interfering with the moral and political fabric of America. It is Satan standing right in plain view.
Well, didn't Trump just recently sign something into law?
Hey, you too, my friend. 901-452-3094 or 901-324-7490. Oh, see? Yeah, but is it helping you? We got a new way forward. That maybe this right here will help that most dependable group, the Black Americans. This new law called a new way forward. Let's see how it includes y'all in it. Let's check it out.
So you've read this legislation, you're familiar with it. If it became law, what would happen to the country?
Well, it's very dangerous. I would say it completely guts our immigration enforcement system that we have in place. It also is just from a pure legality perspective, it just guts the rule of law. So envision a world where individuals no longer have to wait in line for visas. They can come across the border. It's no longer criminality to do that. They can then come into the system. We can't deport them because we can't hold people. It essentially abolishes ICE. And then on top of all of that, going back 25 years, we then have to find folks, bring them back into the country, relitigate their immigration proceedings. So if you're looking for a way to abolish our immigration system, abolish ICE, and just rewrite our immigration code completely, this would be the legislation for you.
In effect, you'd abolish the country. Tell me the thinking behind this. Why would anyone want the U.S. government to affirmatively seek out foreign criminals and import them into the country?
Well, we've seen this over the last several years in a number of pieces of legislation. And I think the idea here is that somehow, even though they go through the due process, even though they have a legitimate order from an immigration judge, that they have no legal right to be here, that they need to be deported, they need to return home, somehow that's not good enough. Somehow we've stacked the deck against them, and so you need to bring them back, relitigate them, provide them attorneys at government expense. So there's a theory here that somehow the deck is stacked against these individuals when that's not the case at all. They have full due process. They go through the immigration system like everyone else. At the end of the day, if the judge, an immigration judge, declares that they have no legal right to be here and orders them deported, that's what the men and women of ICE do, carry out legal immigration orders and deport individuals. And so I think there's a group of individuals that say, we don't like that. We don't like the rule of law, and we'd like to rewrite it.
And we want to pay to bring the worst possible people into the country. It's a kind of punishment meted out against America. Are you worried about this? Like, if this became law, would you be concerned about the country?
Absolutely. I'm not sure I'm so much concerned about it becoming law. I think there's a lot of steps that would have to occur between then and now. Obviously, President Trump would never sign anything like this into law. But should it become law? Yes, absolutely. It would be very devastating to not only the Department of Homeland Security, ICE, CBP, and our whole immigration mission at the department. Very dangerous for our country, dangerous for our communities. Again, you would have hardened criminals being able to come into the country illegally. We would have no ability to enforce that law and deport them. And so basically your sanctuary city policies that we have in effect around the country in several jurisdictions become nationwide. And that may be the end result at the end of the day.
Boy, this is the kind of thing you do to a country you hate, and clearly they do. Mr. Secretary, thanks so much for joining us. I really...
That's what they're doing for the illegal criminal immigrant. They can get income tax check. You got one? They can get driver's license. You got one? They can get free health care. You getting yours? They can go to any kind of school they want to. Can you? Ain't that something? That's what you support? That's what you voted for? Oh, that's right, because I'm getting rid of Donald Trump. Donald J. Trump. Give me the proper respect.
You know something? I listen to the debate all the time, and RC always say Donald Trump ain't did justice reform. I haven't heard them say anything about doing justice reform, doing anything, unless they jump on his coattail and come out, well, we're going to do this act, we're going to do this act, but they never do something.
You know, just like when they jumped up and said that they did the United States, Mexico, Canada agreement. Wow, did you really? Mm-hmm. The one Donald Trump was working on when y'all said, no, he's going to get rid of NAFTA. Right about the same time when y'all said he was going to start World War III and he started peace negotiations with Kim Jong-un. Right about the time when he established Space Force. Right along that time there. I was like y'all working on Russian collusion to storm it down. Mm-hmm. How do y'all see the insanity in this? People, please wake up. Even if you don't like Donald Trump, don't vote against God. Don't vote for these people. Right in a candidate. Don't vote at all. Don't y'all look. The thing that's saving America, I truly believe, is our relationship with Israel. Scripture's clear. I bless those who bless Israel. I curse those who curse Israel. And now you got these people in the name of their blackness that actually want you to think that if you black, you Israel. Being a Jew has nothing to do with color. It's a relationship. It is a special relationship with God. If you're a born-again Christian, the Bible says, Romans chapter 2, you are a Jew. Because you have a special relationship with God. But you got these folks, they've been out there in Hollywood and Chelsea and Dulles Community Center for the last 3 or 4 weekends. Called the black Hebrew Israelite. People get the black Muslims, the Black Panthers. It never helped you. And it never will. And then they try to defend.
Turning now to the group that
condone this foolishness. I'll play that for you after this call.
You called them up.
Oh,
there's the bub himself.
Hello, Dark One.
I'm sorry. That's a good one. Donald Trump is a very good guy. I will stop it.
Did you hear all the scriptures I read how Obama is hostile toward the violence?
You can't talk to me the other day, man. Ain't nobody think about that. I don't know how to make this news to you, man, because it's real old. Now, it's giving out old news. Obama's not the president anymore.
That's true. That's true. That's true. That's true. Well, no, okay, but let's not talk about Obama. Let's talk about Bernie Sanders. How do you feel about Bernie? BS.
Man, Bernie got us in trouble. He's phenomenal. I have no other choice but to go for him. But even I don't like what Bernie doing.
So you gonna vote for this man no matter what. What policy he got, no matter if it destroy the United States, no matter if it take out our children.
Let's back that up. Okay? Let's back that up. This conversation started out like this. A vote for Donald Trump is a very good God. I remember saying that there.
And that was no sense.
Let's go vote against God.
So you think you're voting for God by voting for Bernie Sanders?
I think about. Let's talk. And I know they all.
Do you think you're voting for God if you vote for Bernie Sanders?
Let's take that. Okay? And I want you to show me, right? As we dissect this, these 5 people, what's looks more like? And we're not going to use God. I know they say, we're going to use Jesus. Since he is the one that we know walked this earth in the flesh. Okay?
Okay.
Which one seems more like Jesus Christ?
Donald Trump. Donald Trump says he's going to stand up for the rights of the church. Bernie Sanders said the church is a problem. What the Democrat spirit said the church is a problem. Donald Trump said he's going to honor God in his government over the United States. The Democratic Party said the problem with the United States is there's too much God. Which one seemed more like God to you?
Well, let's talk about that. Let's use the word to talk about that.
Okay.
Okay? And the word we're going to use is hypocrisy. Okay? I know you know what it means because you read it. You read God's story. Your words, not mine. All right? That, hey, the Jews is what's keeping
American relationship with Israel. American relationship with Israel has brought God's favor upon this nation. I stand by that. What makes you think he's a Jew? What makes you think he's a Jew? What makes you think he's a Jew?
What makes me what?
Think that he's a Jew.
He is a Jew.
Who did the Bible say is a Jew?
I don't know that.
Hold on, I'm going to read it to you.
Read it to me, brother.
I'm going to read it to you.
Now, you read it so well.
Romans chapter 2.
Romans chapter 2. I heard that before.
It come right before Romans chapter, Romans 3rd book of Romans.
56.
Yeah. Okay, Romans chapter 2, verse 28. Are you ready?
Ready.
For he is not a Jew. He's telling you he's not a Jew, right? You ready?
I'm ready.
For he is not a Jew, which is one outwardly. Neither is that circumcision which is outward in the flesh. So somebody who said they're a Jew because they were born from the 12 tribes of Israel, or because they last name is Steinberg, or because they got a big nose or something, that's outward stuff. The Bible says he is not a Jew. Would you agree with that?
The Bible says.
Okay.
You have to believe everything that the Bible
I do. Verse 29. But he is a Jew. Now this is describing who is a Jew. You ready?
Now this is what I want to hear.
But he is a Jew, which is one inwardly. And circumcision is that in the heart, in the spirit, and not in the letter, whose praise is not of men, but of God. In other words, the scripture said, he is a Jew who is one inwardly. You know that person that has been circumcised in their heart and become born again? That's what the Bible says, the Jew. Now, Jew has no race, and Jew has no reason. Jew just has a relationship with God. If you are following the instructions of God. God says, I love you like children, not like bastards. If you call yourself a believer, but you follow another instruction, you are a bastard child. You're illegitimate. You're a disgrace to the family. You need to be stoned to death. Yeah, but the Baptist children couldn't go to church for 10 generations. Did you know that?
What?
Yeah.
We could get to the church, you can't go to church for 10 years.
Is your blackness important to you?
My blackness? That is not what I'm saying, y'all. I'm black, y'all, and I'm black, y'all, and I'm blacker than black, and so black, y'all.
Do you like black? And this is just for you. Go ahead, do the Sambo shuffle. Do the Sambo shuffle. The buckwheat boogie. Can you do the Sambo shuffle or the buckwheat boogie? Miss Master? You need to leave my job. Did you see Harvey Weinstein got convicted yesterday? Don't be yourself, man. Bad. They with that black. How about online? Okay, I'm going to play the black Hebrew Israelites. They out there with their blackness. Black Muslims, every time they do a show, they tell you about the Bible say this, and the Bible say that, and the Bible. I tell them about the Quran. Tell them about Surah chapter 4. I tell them beat your life. Tell them about that. You don't get about no blackness. I'm a man. When y'all gonna deal with the content of character part? Remember he said, I live for the day where I'm not going to be judged by the color of my skin, but the content of my character? When you going to talk about the content of your character part, it's always with the black part. And these folks running around here with this
instigated the black Hebrew Israelites. Here they are in Washington, D.C., yelling at the high school students.
Let's make America great again. A bunch of child molested with all these dusty crackers. With that racist garbage on it. That's right. A bunch of incest babies. Biggest terrorists on the face of this earth is the pale-faced man, woman, and child.
The black Hebrew Israelites are described as a black nationalist hate group with militant overtones. They believe blacks are the true descendants of the biblical Israelites, and many of their sects are anti-white. Many here on the East Coast pretty familiar with the group who dress up in robes and preach their teachings on street corners. I happened to catch up with them in Philly about 2 years ago. President Trump, how are you feeling about it?
How do I feel about President Trump? I think that white people put Trump in office, and that was the man that they wanted him to rule over their people. But I think black people, Hispanics and Native Americans, have a king that they need to obey. Right. And this is what my power said. Read Acts 5:29.
Acts chapter 5:29. Then Peter.
Now, you heard the sound coming from people in your organization yelling at these high school students. Do you think that was appropriate?
Well, first of all, that organization that you speak of is not. That's their style.
And we're pretty always excuse. Look, if you like the show, support the show, go to AndreGuy.com, click on Revelation Christian Center, and you can make a donation. God's trying to increase our territory, y'all. Some big finna happen, some big finna happen, and I need your support if you like what we're doing. God bless, I love you.
YouTube channel.
Check out YouTube channel, Revelation Christian Center, House of Prayer, YouTube. You can get some dynamic word of God. That's what it's going to take to fix this nation. God bless. We love you.
On May 25th, 2012, was granted a license by the Federal Communications